There are two main points we want to cover in this video. First, every patient is different, so it's important not to get hung up on your prognosis. Second, the aim, whatever your situation, is to beat the average by a long way. We want to empower you to help yourself. Let's get started. After a cancer diagnosis, you're normally given a prognosis, but importantly, you're not being told exactly what will happen to you. Instead, it's what happens on average to a person in your position. This distinction is critical and is at the heart of how we think about cancer. The key point is, everyone is different and your destiny is not predetermined. Let's take an example. Unfortunately, Jane has been diagnosed with breast cancer. Jane is given a prognosis by her oncologist, but it's important to recognize that a prognosis is the average outcome, not Jane's. The average is taken from a sample of, say, 1,000 women who each had the same diagnosis as Jane. The reality is that half of these people do worse than the average, but the other half do better. If you plotted how well these women did on a graph, you'd get what's called a normal distribution. The data looks like a bell, and this is where the name bell curve comes from. As you can see, the average is the prognosis, but if you look closer, you can also see that many people on the right are living much, much longer. They're at the right tail of the bell curve, living long, happy lives. We think the only question you need to ask is, how can you get to the right tail of the bell curve? Or, in other words, how can you beat the average by a long way? Curve's sole purpose is to help you answer this question. Your doctor will help you fight cancer with well-known treatments used worldwide: surgery, radiation, chemotherapy, immunotherapy, and so on. And the good news is there are things you can add to the mix to help. On your side are three fundamentals that might make a real difference: diet, exercise, and stress management. In our view, these steps are vital and should form part of your core response to cancer. They are the bedrock of cancer self-help and the focus of this introductory video series. They ought to be front and center alongside your doctor-led treatments. We want you to think for yourself and make decisions based on the evidence, which we will discuss later in this video series. We can't tell you which one is more important or what the respective weightings are. That will vary patient to patient. But what we can tell you is that the science says that lifestyle might make a huge difference. It's the low-hanging fruit we should all be picking, and the best place to start in your efforts to beat the average by a long way. We hope you found this video helpful. The key message is that everyone is different, or in other words, your prognosis is not your destiny. Whatever the prognosis, remember that many people beat the average by a long way. It is Curve's sole aim to help you achieve this. There's no doubt that taking control and making lifestyle changes is hard work, especially so in the context of cancer. But Curve's view, based on the latest science and our long-term experience in dealing with thousands of patients, is that when you can and when you're ready, making changes in diet, exercise, and stress management can make a real difference.